Hi everybody, John Cena here and welcome to FunkQuest Season 2, Episode 22, and this is episode number 6 of the second round. And we have two returning Funksters back to the plate this afternoon, Lisa Pezik and Tina Dietz. And Lisa funked past Marla Bolak, and Tina got her way past Colton Geschwantner. And so now I've told you who they are. Lisa, tell me who you are, where you're from and what you do.
Yes, I am Lisa Pezik. I am born and raised in the small town of Pennsylvania, but now live in the big city outside Toronto. And I'm a business strategist and content marketer.
Fantastic. And Tina, tell us who you are and where you're from.
I'm originally from Buffalo, New York, but went vagabond back in 2013 to Costa Rica, Florida, and Canada. I currently live in Florida, and I'm the CEO of Twin Flame Studios, where we use podcasting, audiobooks, and vocal leadership to amplify the voices of brands and leaders.
These two ladies are going to make this look relatively easy, and it's not easy. It's harder than it looks. And if you are new to the show, you'll kind of figure it out. And if you are not new to the show, you'll figure it out also. But there are a couple of rule changes to tell you about, which we'll kind of get into. But the first thing is that who's going to go first? I'm going to say Tina's going to go first because that's the first rule change. It's not an advantage or a disadvantage to go first. So Tina, would you like to go first? You can pick any icon from question 1.
I have to go with the disco ball.
How ambitious are you?
Pretty ambitious. It's I didn't actually realize how kind of independent and assertive that I was until I kind of had a litmus test for other people, because I come from an entrepreneurial family. My dad is way overly assertive. Even my mom is, she started a business from home when I was 3 years old, so didn't understand how weird that was in like the late 1970s until much later. So I've adopted all of that and basically just gone from one project to the next, continually, getting my family out of the rat race, being free of debt, starting multiple companies, wanting to make a difference in the world. I thought everybody was like that, but apparently that's not the case. So
no, a home-based business in the 70s would have been interesting.
Yeah, they started out of our first floor and turned the first floor into a wood-burning stove and fireplace showroom.
Cool.
Yeah.
Did it smell wood burning and type of noise?
I associate any kind of wood fire with home.
It's just interesting how those smells remind you of things. Distinctive smell. Out of time. Lisa, you get to pick an icon from the first question row. You can pick any you want.
I'm going to go with that very fruity drink number 2 there.
How do you know when you reach your limit?
Oh, when I've reached my limit, every little thing makes me crazy. Like something that, like my son wants the crust cut off his grilled cheese sandwich, and I'm like ready to like throw the sandwich out the window to the birds. Like the littlest things annoy me, and I know that's because I haven't been taking time for me, working on my dreams, getting myself centered and focused first. It's like that you can't pour from an empty cup thing. When I've given to everyone else, those little things that shouldn't really make you mad, just like smoke comes out of my ears. And my husband actually has a pact with like my kiddo that he'll be like, he just like gives him like the dad look. Like, like he doesn't even have to say anything. It's like, don't stress out mom with your grilled cheese. Yeah, like they just have this little pact when they know I'm working hard and managing lots of stuff.
Who's to go first? Tina, I believe.
I went first the last round.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Lisa.
Mini putt. The last one.
The golf thing.
Favorite
sandwich.
My favorite sandwich is the Reuben. And I even found a way to make like a vegan Reuben or like the full-on meat lovers Reuben. And they both taste amazing. I love like the sauerkraut, which is good for your gut. And then the sauce, like some places make it with like the Thousand Island sauce, and like you need the juice sometimes, I think, to really make that good quality meat.
What is it?
Reuben, it's like a shaved meat kind of sandwich with like sauerkraut. It's like kind of like a grilled cheese. I'm talking a lot about grilled cheese today. Maybe I need to eat a grilled cheese.
Yeah.
And like, taking it up a notch from, I don't know, it's like a I don't know where it came from, but that's like my go-to sandwich. It's got like thick bread, thick rye bread. Mm.
I don't think we have that. I'd have to find that. You'd have to send me a picture.
You know what I'm talking about, Tina?
Yeah, it's a Jewish deli thing with corned beef and Swiss cheese, sauerkraut, and usually Thousand Island dressing grilled on rye bread.
Yeah, we have corned beef, but I won't put it with Thousand Island dressing and all that stuff. Anyway.
You wouldn't think the Thousand Island dressing
I would never eat it
do it. Mm-mm. But when I had it for the first time, I was like, ooh, it made a difference.
It just works.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm hungry.
Yeah, I am actually, yeah. I'll get one of them after. Tina, question 2.
Let's go with the beagle.
Your favorite panoramic view?
So I lived in Costa Rica for the better part of 2 years, and I still have property down there, developing a community. And my favorite view was getting up in the morning on the mountain where we were living in the middle of a coffee field and having this 360 view where I could see 7 volcanoes off in the distance and the lights of San Juan at night and the smoke from the fog coming down over the mountains. Poas was right behind us, so I'd say good morning to Senor Poas every morning and eat my strawberries and drink my coffee and look over this beautiful field of coffee beans with the birds singing and toucans and sloths, and it was just magical every single morning.
You can't capture that in a photograph, can you?
No, you really can't.
No,
you really can't. It's a full sensory experience.
Yeah. 3, is it Tina to go first, I think?
My turn again?
Yes.
Okay. Weirdly, I want to go with the pills for some reason.
The medication thing.
Yeah.
Okay. What scary thing still gives you nightmares?
Okay. So, and I've learned that some of this seems to be genetic or developmental, like brain science stuff, because I've been able to help my son with the same kind of fears that I had, which are totally nonsensical. And it really is that monster under the bed. I am 45 years old, and every so often, if I'm up in the middle of the night, I still take the 1-2 running leap onto the bed so you don't get too close to the edge of the bed and you can't put your arm over the edge because it's going to get you. It's so annoying, and you know it's completely illogical, and yet you cannot turn off that lizard part of your brain that makes you think there's something there.
Yeah. How does the voice in your head talk to you?
It's a really annoying dialogue. It's like, I know there's nothing there, but what if there is? You're being an idiot, but what if there is?
Question 3. It's Lisa, I think, to go next. Right, question 3.
I'm going to pick the cartwheel dude on the beat.
What is your number 1 tip for survival in the crazy world that we live in?
My number 1 tip is get super clear about what really matters right here and now in this moment. I don't know about you guys, but I'm like business mom, entrepreneur, homeschooling mom, martial arts mom, soccer mom, wife, cook, laundry cleaner, gardener. Like there's just so many spitting plates, and my to-doer sometimes wants to tick it all off. And there is no badge of busy. There is no badge of being the best homeschooling mom. There is no badge of being the best businessman or woman. It's what's going to make you feel safe and secure and present and loved in this moment. That's what you need to go do. Because when you feel good and you're doing the things that matter, everything kind of shifts and falls into place.
That's good insight. I was just going to say, actually, if you're listening to this, maybe you should kind of stop the tape or the video now and go and get a piece of paper and a pencil and write something down and then come back. And Tina, it's question 4.
Lisa's trying to go first?
Yeah. Lisa.
I'm going to pick that truck going through the muck.
When you are old, what do you think children will ask to tell you stories about? Ask you to tell stories about?
I think they're going to want to know. Oh man, that's a great question. What are kids going to want to know? They're going to want to know. They're going to want to know about this pandemic. They're going to want to know I think like technology seems to be the thing, right? Like I can remember looking back at like rotary phones, and I remember there was even a video where kids like didn't know how to use like the rotary phone, and things are just gonna be done so much faster, but maybe or maybe not better, right? There's that curse sometimes of right here and now, I get it now, I get it when I want it. So maybe they're going to want to know how we coped with things taking longer, things taking time, not having everything at our fingertips that we want. And yeah, how we survived in times like this when things were kind of taken away. And
the interesting thing for me out of that is that we're getting faster and faster and faster internet all the time. Yeah. But we are going to have to wait for things. Yeah. Like up until now, the internet has meant I can download something faster in 2 seconds. I can watch this, I can do that, and multitask and this and that. Actually, now I can't because the world is spinning at a different speed. So I do have to wait for stuff. I do have to wait outside the supermarket, lined up like Formula One cars. I do have to wait, in a big line when I go to somewhere. Yeah. Tina, question 4.
I'm going to go with the boat next to the kind of seaside villas there.
Or would you piggyback on a long walk?
Actually, on my back?
Well, I suppose you don't have to carry them all the way. I mean, who would you walk along with?
Well, actually, when my husband and I first started dating, the story is we had this very bizarre courtship where we fell in love with each other on the phone. We had met at an event. And fall in love over the phone. So we were in love with each other before we had ever kissed, before we had ever hugged or anything. And then we spent a week together. And we ended up a conversation one night, and he was being very vulnerable with me. And we ended up in this running joke where it's okay, honey, if you fall down, then I'll just flip over the coffee table and use it as a travois to drag you back to wherever we're going. So now the running joke is anytime we're somewhere and he's feeling kind of tired, I'm like, do you need me to get a coffee table?
Oh.
And so that would be our version of piggybacking, would be me dragging him on the coffee table back. Yeah,
is that exclusive that we've got? Yeah. 4, yeah. So Tina, you to go first.
Flamingo.
If you could take a single photograph of your life, who would be in it?
So it would be my family. For sure. My parents, my grandparents on both sides are really, really important to me. And my grandfather's 93. He's still alive and living on his own. He's a huge inspiration to me. Definitely my kids, although I don't know what age I would choose because they've all been pretty precious. And my husband and actually my kid's dad as well is a very important part of my life. And I think I'd have to include some background there of some of the places that I've been, and even some of the mentors I had kind of have this thought of just kind of their outlines or their shadows in the background is almost benevolent spirits that have been guiding me along the way. You have to be a really big photograph or one of those tiny little mosaics where you have all these little tiny
1,000
pictures
pixels
making the picture of like my face or who I am, because is never a journey on your own.
That is true, yeah. And I like the idea of putting just shadows in just to shadow over. Yeah, nice, like that. Thank you for sharing that. Question 5, Lisa.
I'm going to pick the last one of that house.
This haunted house thing where there might be a thing under the bed. You don't know, do you? Okay, so which language do you wish you could speak fluently?
I wish I could speak Polish fluently. My husband's grandma, who's thus passed on, she lived to like 98. And man, that woman was a survivor of war, and her husband died 30 years before she passed away, so she lived as a widow. She had so much wisdom. Yet she would even speak to my husband. I don't even remember the Polish phrases, but she'd call him like her little boy, her little bird. Like she just spoke so lovingly of everyone she came in contact with. And she always spoke it in Polish. And there was something about hearing it in that language that just made it so much more heartfelt. that
Yeah.
I can't go back and speak to her because she's passed on, but I would love to learn that language in her honor.
The thing is, if it's in native language, there's no translation. And quite often there's no literal translation for a lot of words into English. And so you're hearing it as they intended.
Yep.
Yeah, again, thank you for sharing that.
Yep.
So that's episode 22 done. So one of these ladies is going to go through to the quarterfinals, which is kind of quite exciting. And you've got to vote which lady you think gave you the biggest insight, thought, idea, or inspiration. That's not necessarily knowledge. So below this episode or somewhere around here, there'll be a Twitter poll. You can vote for if you think Lisa gave you the biggest insight or Tina gave you the biggest insight, thought, idea, or suggestion. And it's as simple as that. Lisa and Tina, thank you so much for being on the show. Lisa, how can we contact you and find out more about you?
Yes, so my website is www.lisapezik.com. Everything is pretty much under my name. Instagram, podcast, all of that is under Lisa Pezik. So the website is the best place. Thank you.
Excellent. Tina, how can we contact you?
You can find out more about Twin Flames Studios at twinflamesstudios.com. But if you Google Tina Dietz, I can promise you I'll be probably the first half dozen links on there if you want to connect just like Lisa, and on social media, and happy to connect.
Fantastic. Ladies, thank you so much for being on the show, and we'll speak to one of you in the quarterfinal. Thanks so much, and speak soon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jonathan.
Hi, thanks so much for making it to the end of this episode. If you've enjoyed it, please share it with your friends. I have a few people you might want to share it with. Your partner, your parents, your grandma and granddad, your neighbours, your hairdresser, your tea lady, your gym instructor, your swimming coach, postman, the bin man, your cat, your dog, Father Christmas, Mr. Trump, Mr. Putin, Cristiano Ronaldo.